Don't be surprised if you hear Snoop Dogg buying a summer home in Portland, Maine. Last night, that city became the latest to quote-unquote legalize marijuana, as did 3 communities in Michigan, including the city of Lansing. These areas are following in the footsteps of Colorado and Washington State, which both voted to legalize recreational drug use last November. But what makes these city decriminalization laws a little different is that they essentially make something legal that was never illegal under city statutes to begin with. It's a little like saying, let's make eating legal in our town. It was never illegal. But by passing these proposals, cities and towns may have a stronger leg to stand on in their efforts to change state laws that make it illegal to smoke pot. It's no wonder the movement is gaining some momentum. According to ArcView Market Research, the legal marijuana market is worth almost $1.5 billion nationally, and it's expected to top $2.3 billion by next year. That's a 64% increase, faster than the market for smartphones, according to the Huffington Post. Our next guest is Mark Kleiman, a public policy professor at UCLA, and he says don't be surprised, given the current trends, if pot is legal nationwide in 5 years. Mark, thanks so much for being here. We appreciate it. As you heard, we interviewed New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg a few minutes ago. He called legalizing pot a bad idea. He says he thinks it will just make drug dealers offer more potent drugs to make up for whatever money they lose from marijuana sales. What do you say to that?
It's an odd brand of economics. So on what theory are drug dealers who have a market for some other drug not offering it simply because marijuana is legal? I can't make any sense out of that concern. And then the next thing the mayor said was, well, people who smoke pot will then use more potent drugs. Again, no evidence of that. The big question that he didn't answer and that nobody has an answer to is whether making marijuana legal will lead fewer people to drink heavily. If it does, that would be a big deal. If it leads more people to drink heavily, that would be a bad thing. And the honest answer about most of this stuff is we don't know, and anybody who says he does know is bluffing.
The latest Gallup poll, Professor, shows 58% of the American people favor legalizing marijuana. Do you think, given the swell of support, that more focus needs to be put on how to make legalization work rather than debating whether it's a good idea? I mean, has the train left the station and now we should just really be worried about safety for the train?
I think that's right. There are lots and lots of questions the states have to decide, and eventually the federal government will have to decide. The current train that's leaving the station is commercial legalization, pretty much on the model of alcohol and tobacco. Now, those seem to me like 2 very bad models to follow, and I think we ought to be able to do better. But the piecemeal state-by-state approach rules out what I think is the best solution, which would be to have cannabis distributed by state agencies rather than by for-profit private entities. But you can't do that while cannabis is illegal nationally, since state officials can't be told to break federal law. Colorado. So I'd like to get this out of the hands of the initiative writers and into the hands of legislators. I'd like to do it nationally, and I'd like to do it calmly. I don't think I'm going to get any of those things.
Colorado recently passed a law to tax marijuana sales at a rate of 15%. Do you think that's a good model to follow for other states considering legalizing marijuana?
Unfortunately, I don't. There are 2 problems with that tax. One is that the rate is too low, and the other is that it's set as a fraction of the market price. And the market price is going to fall with legalization, probably dramatically. What you'd like is a tax that rises as the market price falls to keep the price to the consumer more or less constant. And so I'd like to have an excise tax on THC, which is the main active agent in cannabis, and adjust that from year to year. But that's not the direction Colorado went in, not the direction that Washington State went in. And again, if you're putting something up to the voters, it has to be something you can explain in a 30-second spot. And more complicated proposals aren't going to do very well in that context.
All right.